if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly...
Hey guys, Coach Dan here. I'm a exercise and science degree holder. I am a personal trainer and coach for over 10 years now, and I've also been training myself in gyms for 20 plus years, and today we're going to go through my push workout. We are currently 7 weeks into a fat loss phase, and I'll give you a rundown of how that's going, but first let's get into the specifics of the workout. So if you want to know how the fat loss phase is going, scroll forward, but we will go, or you can just, watch this and watch that. If you want to just see what's in the workout, do this, skip on. Anyway, in short, workout is a push workout. So push workout being chest, shoulders, and triceps. We're going to start off with the medium incline Smith machine bench press. What we are doing at the moment is doing top set. So we're going to do a heavy set of about 6 to 8 reps, back off the weight for about 8 to 12. And we're going to do that pretty thematically throughout a lot of those compound movements. Same with the second exercise, which is the seated pin-loaded chest press with the yoga block behind the back for a nice deep stretch. Start off with a heavy set, back off set. Machine fly, we might just go straight sets, 10 to 15 reps, a couple of those bad boys, and those three will cap off the chest work. Then we move into some of the shoulder stuff. So we're going to do an incline lying, cable machine lateral raise. So laying on the back, kind of solidifying the technique such that you don't cheat or move your body around at all. So a nice little lateral deltoid variation there if you're in the market. Neutral grip plate loaded shoulder press. So neutral grip being palms facing towards one another. We're going to do a top set there and then back off sets as previously mentioned. And then Smith machine skull crusher, increased stability. So what we might do on there with the same kind of, we're going to do a few sets of that. So we might do potentially, 2 or 3 heavier sets and then 2 or 3 lighter sets. So that is the workout coming up today. So nothing too crazy. This is everything on there is what we did last week. And again, being in a fat loss phase, we're just fighting to keep and progress where possible. So yeah, 7 weeks in, fat loss or weight loss progress has been good. It started this phase at about 88 kgs, just coming back from a holiday. So probably that weight was inflated by a couple, 2 or 3 kgs. So yeah, and now we're down to, I think, weighing 80.8 this morning. So that progress is going well. Definitely tired, definitely, moody, you'd probably say. So there's some challenges that come along with it. And this is, this is part and parcel of it. I don't know, the idea of just, you've decided to do something and we're just going to follow through and do it, just keeps ringing to mind. There's no real question about it in my mind. I should stop, I should do this. Whereas other people kind of potentially give themselves a way out, like an eject button or whatever it might be. So yeah, for me, there's no eject button. There's 3 weeks left or so. We just get it done and you just be willing to go through the discomfort. I think you learn about yourself in these kind of times where it's not comfortable, but each time you come out the back end and you can be proud of the effort that you've put in because you didn't, fail or you didn't fall, you stayed strong. And then next time it comes around, you can do it a little bit better and potentially, go a little bit further or whatever it might be. So we stick with it. A few more weeks left. We don't really have to change too much because, as I said, the progress is where we want it to be. Probably one of the main things I want to prioritize, definitely in this last 3 weeks, is sleep. So I found that, maybe I was undersleeping a bit because I've been getting up early to get my steps in and therefore sort of potentially missing half an hour and a half sleep, something like that. And all week my weight was kind of, not really budging and something, or to an extent. So it's just cruising around 81, 82, something like that. Got a good night's sleep Friday night last week. Boom, straight away, a big chunk of weight come off. And you just, potentially, that doesn't mean you're not losing fat. It just means, there is something going on there, potentially some stress-related water retention or whatever it might be. So good to kind of see that bump because you kind of get in your own head a little bit, I'm not making progress, whatever. But yeah, so that to me just emphasizes the importance of sleep, making sure we're getting that and valuing that highly. So that's going to be a big emphasis of me this week, even though my days are big and I don't get a lot of time when I get home of an evening. But yeah, sleep. Sleep is the GOAT. All right, let's not dilly-dally around too much more. We're going Smith machine incline bench press first. Let's go. All right, first up, incline Smith machine bench press. So we're starting off with this is our first chest movement. Incline Smith machine, or incline movements in general, are inclined to work more of the upper chest. Well, not more of the upper chest, they just don't use as much as the rest of your chest or the lower chest. So if you're thinking, okay, I want to make sure I'm doing not as much lower chest work, you would go, all right, well, let's do some incline stuff. Now, if you just want to grow the chest overall, potentially this is not the most efficient way to do it, because this might just sort of not allow you to use the lower chest and the rest of your chest as well. So it's not that it's necessarily better for your upper chest, it just doesn't let you use your lower chest. So if that's your goals, which it is for me, more upper chest dominated work, this is a good way to go about doing it. If you just want to grow your chest overall, potentially flatter movements are better for you. So anyway, with that all said, when we want to get that, line up the incline essentially, when we want to target a particular part of our chest, we essentially want to make it incline enough that we line up with our chest. So when I go to do this and I come down, I essentially want to make sure that's lined up with the chest, part of the chest that I want to work. So for me, it's pretty high up. And when doing that, especially with something like a Smith machine, because you can't adjust it once it gets going, you can't like move it back and forth. We essentially want our elbows to be pretty much directly underneath the bar, so we're all working in the same direction. So I might take it a centimetre this way. I've got 2 fingers on the smooth. We're high up on the chest. I'm thinking about driving my arm in towards my midline, and because I'm on the incline, it's also going up a little bit. All right, let's get it going. Let's really fight hard for some performance here. We've got a top set or a heavier set, and then we're going to bring it back down. Let's get it. All right, seated chest press first. We've got the incline machine, the Smith machine bench press out of the way, with more focus towards the upper chest, or at least not allowing you to use the lower chest as much. So now we move on to a horizontal movement, which is the seated chest press. Now, something that I do that's unique is I use the yoga block, put that behind my back essentially to get a nice stretch or a larger range of motion. This particular chest press has always had a really good feel, but we just miss a little bit of range of motion on it. So what I'll do is I'll take that, pin that in between my shoulder blades. Once I find the sweet spot, then I'll get that deep stretch, drive forward, control, deep stretch, drive forward. Bada bing, bada boom, that's it. Nothing to it, the chest press. Trying to really get stronger at this movement. I'm going to start off with a heavy set of 6 to 8 reps, and then we're going to bring it back down for something 8 to 12, and looks like we'll be a couple kgs up on last week, so that is a good sign. All right, is that all we got? That's all we got. Let's get it. All right, next up we have the machine fly. So far so good this workout. Fighting really hard to even match performance. But yeah, that's part of it. You know, fat loss phase means that performance is not always as smooth and linear. So we've got to work really hard to even sustain performance. But yeah, it can be disheartening sometimes when you try really, really hard. You feel like you put a really good set in and you're the same as you were last week. But if we can stay the same, a rep better here and there, a kg better here and there, that's good stuff, right? So machine fly now, our isolation movement, or as close to our isolation as we can. So what I do unique for this is I'll put my hand up here on the frame versus being down here. So we can kind of get ourselves above potentially the rest of the pec and kind of focus in towards the higher part of the pec and even the clavicular pec. So we're kind of coming in here like this and trying to angle across like here for it to be a little bit higher, because that is my preference. So that's number one. Number two, set the hands back nice and far, or the arm should I say, so we get the big stretch and a good range of motion. And yeah, number three, not a must, but I shorten the elbow a little bit, so we go with a slightly bent elbow to kind of hopefully let the bicep chill out a bit. Then we bring the arms towards one another. I think that looks like a pretty good path. Bring them together. Now, something that I don't do on here, but I'm going to try it today, is with all the other exercises, I'm considering doing a top set, but I don't usually do that for this one, but I'm going to try it today. So normally I just go all sets 10 to 15, but instead I'm going to go maybe a heavier set, say like 8 to 10 reps, and then one back off set 10 to 15. So see how that goes. That might be interesting. I might like it, I might not. The heavier weights on here might feel good, might not. Normally in this kind of isolation work, I am more inclined to go to a lower weight, more moderate rep range, but today I'm going to give it a good old crack, and that might be fun to kind of progress the weights as well in that lower rep range. But we must keep the technique the same. All right, next up we have our lying cable lateral raise variation. So I've taken a bench, I've got it on the first incline on this bench, but that can be varied depending on the person, your preference, and what feels good for you. So could be higher, could be flat. I think a little bit up is good because then the cables aren't running into you. Or if you were to do this flat and set them high, there's some potential that could be a bit rear delty, and I want to make it lateral delty. So first incline for me, this here, I'm inclined to set that pretty low. So it's kind of coming down in this sort of path a little bit. And again, trying to think about stretching the lateral delt. If we go too far that way, and it almost just becomes a rear delt fly. So if you think we're lying back like this and going like that, it could be a nice stretch in the rear delt and affect the rear delt if that's what you want. But for me, it's lateral delt. So I'm thinking set it down like that. So my arm is coming almost into my body. So what we do is we take the opposite cable. So I've got the right side here. I'm taking the left hand to the right side. Then I grab the right one, lay back with it, raise out. So I'm thinking wherever I've set that cable height at the beginning, I'm going to go in a path that's directly against that cable height, and that's why setting that height and being deliberate about that's important. It's not just wham bam thank you ma'am, it's what path do I want my arm to go through. And if I kind of get the path of my arm and I say I want it to go like this way, then I'll set that at directly that height and then do my motion directly against that. So yeah, set that deliberately, try a couple of things, feels best. I think low enough, for me personally, I go low enough that it's kind of, coming down and into you, but not so low that you're running into your legs and stuff like that. That would be my recommendation. All right, let's get it on. Lateral delt work, 3 exercises to go. Alright, plate loaded shoulder press next. So we've got the lateral delts out of the way. Now, some people would argue that things that are targeting the anterior delt are not absolutely necessary, I think is the argument, because all of our pressing movements and the such already use the anterior delt. But I'm inclined to do a couple of sets on here just to kind of tick that box and try and make them the limiting factor. So with that in mind, we do 2 sets on this day, on this push day, and then we do 2 sets on our other push day later in the week of just different variations of exercise, just to make sure we are ticking that box and make sure it's not a limiting factor. I will take the neutral grip, which means palms facing towards one another. Definitely nothing wrong with this grip. You know, both are good. I'll use that at some stage in the near future, or if you have dumbbell shoulder presses and you vary like that, it will slightly move your arms differently, so potentially focus on different parts of the shoulder, and maybe that has some value. But for the time being, I've been doing the neutral grip. So essentially you grab this handle, and if you think about the job of the anterior delt, it's kind of pulling your head into, pulling your arm, should I say, in towards your head. If you think about like pec is down here, pulling your arm across, if you keep going up, eventually you'll get to something that's more anterior deltoidy, and then that's the kind of path that we want to go through. So when we set ourselves up, we kind of want to make sure our arm's coming towards the head. And what I like to do when doing it is think about pulling the arm towards the head, not just pushing the weight up, so we can get that good, feeling for the muscle, or mind to muscle connection. So the action is pressing up, but I'm thinking about driving my arm towards my head so I can feel it be as much about my anterior delt as possible. Other thing that I like to make sure is I'm going through a good range of motion, so seat set somewhat high allows for me to go down. If that seat was too low, essentially what it would have me doing is something like that. So as high as you can manage and feels like it's doing what it should. You can obviously go through an excessive range of motion, but set the seat such that we go through a good range of motion, good stretch in the anterior delt, and pulling your arm towards your head. All right, 2 sets here, top set and back off set, as I have been doing with most movements. Figured that with the fly, it doesn't feel very good doing a heavy weight with the fly, it doesn't feel comfortable in my shoulder, so I might just keep that without the heavy set. But in general, it's a nice strategy. A heavy set to really go hard with it, and then to feel it with the lighter set. I don't mind both of those strategies. All right, let's go. Come on. All right, we're going with a tricep substitute today because I would normally do a Smith machine skull crusher, and that is currently unavailable as we speak. So I'm going to go to overhead straight bar tricep extension, putting the shoulder in a pretty flex position, getting a nice stretch through the long head of the tricep. And yeah, haven't done this one in a little while. I stopped doing this one a little while back at the other gym that I train on my other push day due to a bit of elbow pain. It's now gone away, good sign. So yeah, maybe that is something to keep in mind, is that maybe this does flare it up because it's quite hard in a stretch position. So, but anyway, you take a straight bar, rope, whatever kind of bar you prefer, from low, coming to a position of high. So in this kind of position, extend, big elbow stretch, extend. I have always preferred doing this on a machine, a cable machine, versus a free weight option. Not sure why, just always felt a little bit better to me than, getting an easy bar up here like this, or getting something else in that kind of position. So I go with this, but I haven't done it here in a little while. So let's see if we can't find our weight. Maybe 2 or 3 heavier sets, 8 to 15 reps, 2 or 3 lighter sets, maybe 15 to 20 or something like that. Let's go. Alright, that's a wrap on the workout, guys. A goodie, tired, but feel proud of that one. So, all getting a little bit tough to make progress, as always, but we keep grinding away, trying to make that 1 rep improvement, even maintaining performance as best you can, like a lot of lifts today. Maintain, got 7 on a bench press that I got 7 on last week, and things like that. So, that is not always fun and pleasant. You kind of go, I've put in like as much effort as I can, but I'm not making any progress. It's a bit of a shit, but what to do? We just keep pushing. We know that, again, the goal is not performance at the moment. The goal is not muscle gain. Potentially we'll get some muscle gain, but ultimately it's fat loss and hopefully retaining as much muscle as possible. That's the money shot at the moment, and sometimes that's the best you can ask for, but could be doing something differently, potentially. Could be doing more volume, potentially. There are some things you could tweak, but again, I'm inclined to kind of hang in there and just hold on to performance as hard as possible for as long as possible. And again, we've got 3 weeks left, so should be good to get through that and then be proud of the effort at the end. All right, as always, if you're liking the content, do me a solid, hit the little subscribe up here. If you want to watch another video, click this bad boy. If you like little exercise tips in short form, check out the shorts, smashing those out at the moment. And as always, it's about progress over perfection. Coach Dan, signing off.